Greetings, programs. This is Wretch, and welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade Out for Blood. And in the last stream, guys, Morgan and the crew did a little bit of breaking and entering into Bleakrest House, and we decided to search the first floor, though we did have an opportunity to go into the basement. We found a very large dog named Blade, who we were able to give belly rubs to, yay for survival. And we found some pretty definitive proof that Chastain is a vampire. However, any photo evidence that we took with our phone, like that image almost immediately went away. So now we have pretty good evidence also that someone is basically searching the net for pictures of Chastain or things that she may not like and deleting them, which explains some stuff that we've seen earlier in the game. So I don't know if we're going to be able to figure out what exactly that is, but we have moved on to Chapter 8 of the story, Common Ground. We live, we die. Somewhere along the way, if we're lucky, we may find someone to help lighten the load. Justin Cronin, The Passage. Every time you step back into Long Valley Park, you feel a mix of nostalgia and anxiety. You spent your time in these woods as a child, striving to find your way out when your grandfather would challenge you to do so. In your early teens, you came back here with Adam and Salem and searched for new places to hang out and explore. You'd even come here alone to escape the pressures of your teenage years or for a break from your grandfather, to just disappear for a while. You've driven through this park on each trip back to Jericho Heights. Walking through the forest feels more visceral. The branches reach out and embrace you, and the wind seems to whisper your name. The park knows you're there, like an old friend come to visit. After dropping off Marcus and Michaela, you stop at home briefly to clean up and prepare for what may be a long night out. Tired of being without protection, you take a Glock 19 from your grandfather's secret room. Every once in a while, you check your belt to make sure it's still there. As you near the meeting place for the search party, you spy a large crowd. Several long folding tables stand in a semicircle manned by volunteers wearing "We Love Tyler" t-shirts. Tall lights provide static illumination around the edge of the clearing. A short wooden platform sits just beyond the reception area, and you see a young woman setting up AV equipment. In front of the platform sits a blown-up school photo of Tyler with a few dozen candles, flowers, and a wreath. You walk around in the crowd for a while before finding your friends all standing by the first registration table. As you wade through the crowd, Salem rushes up to meet you. I told Adam over and over again not to worry. I knew you'd be here. I'm still freaking out, but I'm trying to calm down. Being here is not great for my anxiety, but at least you're here now. If we actually find Tyler, I don't know how I'm going to react, but let's just hope he's safe. You hear the long warble of feedback from a portable speaker. The mayor steps onto the platform and grabs a bullhorn connected to the speaker. Sheriff Ray takes the stage next to him. A man and a woman join him as well. Both have been crying. They hold each other as they stand off to the side. The man trembles, and the sheriff places a hand on his shoulder in support. From below the platform, a hand extends and holds up a packet of tissues. Mayor Bumpley walks up to the bullhorn and holds it to his mouth. Thank you all for volunteering to help with the search for Tyler. We all still have hope that he's out there somewhere. The sheriff's office and local police have been coordinating the search throughout Long Valley Park and the rest of Jericho Heights. It warms my heart to see you all still here. On behalf of the Sanders family, thank you for pitching in. In a few moments, Sheriff Raymond Allister will provide some instructions, and then you'll break out into groups to look for evidence that may help the ongoing investigation. Thank you, and may God bless us all. The mayor passes the bullhorn over to Sheriff Ray, who says, Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Everyone listen up, because I'm only going to go over this once. As the sheriff goes over procedures for the search, your small group moves to the side of the crowd. Hey, Dama. So, Lacey, did you go to the sheriff's office yet? She shakes her head and takes out a cigarette. She wears a pair of loose-fitting jeans and a button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up. Does anyone mind if I smoke? She asks as she lights it. Pushed me off until tomorrow. He had to put this whole thing together, so Ray said he didn't have time to talk to me. If you want to join me, I have an appointment with him early tomorrow. Adam turns his wheelchair and points off in the distance. We should get a move on. We're focusing on that northeast quadrant over there. It's gonna take us about 3 hours. I'm ready to go if everyone else is. Before you head out, you... Ooh. Speak with Tyler's parents, Sheriff Ray and Deputy Maya. I feel I should go talk to Deputy Maya. Stepping to the far side of the platform, you wait for the sheriff and deputy to finish with their instructions. When they finish, Sheriff Ray is first down the stairs. Oh, hey there, Morgan. You come to help? Head on over and register if you haven't already. I am registered and ready to go. Deputy Maya quick steps down the stairs and pulls up next to the sheriff. She is a ball of energy, bouncing from foot to foot, like it'd be a struggle for her to stand in one place. You ready to go, Chief? She gives you a short nod. Need something? Just checking in for any final advice. Well, we appreciate you being here. We need everyone in this town to pull together to find Tyler, she says. Yeah, well said, Sheriff Ray says to her and then to you. If your group finds anything, tell your leader to radio it in. Otherwise, just keep alert. They thank you again and say their goodbyes as they make their way to the middle of the crowd. Ooh. Relationship with the sheriff, relationship with the deputy. Cool. By the time you're done at the platform, your group is already 100 yards away. You catch up to them and spot Adam leading them along a northwestern path, his wheelchair rocking from side to side through the uneven grass and ruts. Whenever Marcus tries to kick stones out of his path, Adam speeds up. Lacey has a flashlight in her hand, which she shines just ahead of the group. Salem stays just behind Adam, constantly looking back and forth like she's watching a fast-paced game of tennis. As you step closer to her, you can see that a patch of hair behind her right ear has markedly thinned. When you were growing up, she compulsively pulled her hair, mostly while she slept. When your grandfather confronted Miss Morelli about it, she played it off as just a phase, hormonal teenagers and all that nonsense. It was only after her father died in the house fire that Salem saw a doctor and was diagnosed with trichotillomania, that word. After the fire, she gradually improved on her own, but now you see the signs again. While you walk with your group, Now we need to talk to Salem, see if she's okay. Monitor some stress levels. Salem walks along the border between the dirt path and the forest. Her combat boots make thin tracks. She takes off her hoodie as the air grows warmer even though the sun's gone down. A large silver ankh necklace stands out against a black and gray camo patterned t-shirt. She wears a skull and crossbones scarf over her hair. As she sees you stepping over, she gives you a quick, "What's up?" Let's not try and bring up the stress. Let's try and deflect it. I'm glad we all got to hang out earlier at the library. She rubs the scarf over her head. I'm glad too. It's great to hang out with you guys again. Really distracted me from everything that's going on. That's all I think about right now too. You know, we just found out about vampires in the Heights. I feel so weird to say it. Vampires? Do you really think we stand a chance? Should I be trying to convince my family to move? Woo. Manipulation and subterfuge. What's our manipulation? Okay, we got 5. We might as well give it a shot. We're definitely going to beat her. I say just to calm her nerves. I don't really believe it, though. Conniving +8. She raises her eyebrows. You really think so? Absolutely. There's 1 of her and 5 of us. Plus, we have the element of surprise. She has no idea we're coming after her. Salem blows out a long sigh. Her shoulders relax and she has a bit more energy in her step. Salem stress -1. Do you remember when we were kids and you dared me and Adam to go into Bleakrest House? Her lips droop into a frown. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I was always daring you and Adam to do crazy things, and you two would always do it. Well, I should say Adam would always do it. You'd always try and talk him out of it. I mean, you really were our moral compass. I really miss those old days. Not so much my father, but hanging out with you and Adam all the time was probably the best part of my life. I was getting that glimmer of hope that it would be like that again, and now we have vampires to deal with. I just can't believe all of this is happening. We're gonna take care of this. We'll figure out a way to pull through. And it'll be you and me and Adam, just like the old times. She grabs your hand and steps in to walk closer. I hope so. I think we've done some good here. Let's go ahead and just back away. Thanks for chatting, I say, and move on from this conversation. It's good talking to you, Salem says. Relationship with Salem +3. Your group takes a side route through a thickly wooded area on a dirt path pounded by years of hikers and cross-country runners. On your right, dense and dark forest blanket this area of the park. On your left, the trees grow sparse and a field spreads as far as you can see in the deepening twilight. An owl call brings eerie music to the canopy of trees, though a moment later, cuts off mid-hoot. You spot a cloud of flies near the trunk of an ash tree a few yards into the woods. Fearing a dead animal, you consider investigating without alerting your group. You're not sure if Adam can make it across the terrain, and Salem wears her anxiety like a shield. You could try to slip away and investigate before anyone notices, or you can be forthcoming. What if it's not an animal, but something worse? Is that something you can face alone? Ooh. Let's slip away from the friends and from having to deal with the dead thing. I know we could go ahead and bring them in on it, but they're all on edge right now, and I don't want them to get involved unless they absolutely have to. Kind-hearted +3, conniving +7. You slip away from your friends without drawing their suspicions, so you come up with an alibi. Look, hey guys, I need to stop for a moment. I won't be long, I'm sorry, you say and hold your stomach. Take your time. I could use the break, Adam says. You head into the woods at an angle away from the cloud of flies so your companions don't spot it. It doesn't take you long for you to reach the ash tree. You come up from behind the cloud of flies and keep your friends on the road in sight. A black and brown bundle of fur lies at its base. Maggots crawl across the body, pushing away the flies which pick at the carcass. The odor forces you to keep your distance. Though you want to investigate further, the smell and the flies give you pause. Covering your nose and mouth in the crook of your arm, you inch closer until you see the body of a large rodent, possibly an opossum or raccoon. You see no visible wounds or marks, no blood, nor broken bones. Crouching to look closer, you notice two tiny holes on the side of its neck, like someone poked it with a pin in two spots near each other. Did it die of disease, or was it scared to death? Without further examination, you don't know why it's dead. The whole thing gives you the creeps. A glimmer of light catches your eye. Nearby, in a pile of dead leaves, sits a tiny silver object that must have been caught in a ray of moonlight. You pick through the leaves with a long stick and drag the gleaming thing towards you. Picking it up, you see it's a small, silver button. Clean off a little debris and hold it up to the light, but see nothing remarkable about it. You've seen a button like this not long ago. Where was it? Catching sight of your friends stopped on the path, you get the sense they're waiting for you. Without much left to do here, you pocket the button, cut back through the trees, and rush to join them. Everything okay? Adam asks. Yeah, I'm sorry to hold you guys up. No problem. It was nice to take a break, Salem says. You and your group continue on the road, and you talk to Adam. You walk to Adam in front of the pack. He wears a pair of dark chinos, a white, lightly patterned linen shirt, and a pair of white Adidas that look brand new and expensive. You suppose he doesn't have to worry about scuffing them. He gives you a simple nod as he notices you. Though he's been struggling over the terrain at times, he shows no signs of fatigue or discomfort. His hands are dirty from touching his wheels to push the chair, and once in a while he leans over and claps to knock the dirt off of his palms. So you remember when we were kids and Salem dared us to go into Bleak Rest House? Adam's eyes widen and he smiles. Wow, I haven't thought about that in years. We were such troublemakers back then. Can't believe we went in there. Salem can get us to do anything with a dare. Well, she dared us to do things all the time, you say. He's like an evil mastermind with a good heart. I remember you wouldn't even go in, though. You're always the moral compass of the group. You got so freaked out in there. If it weren't for that old groundskeeper who came by, we would have been in so much trouble. He runs over a high patch of dirt with one wheel, making his wheelchair pitch to the side before it levels out. Right. You didn't come out for the... Oh, wait. Right. You didn't come out for like the longest time. Salem and I were freaking out when that guy came by and asked what was going on. Next thing you know, he goes inside and carries you out in his arms like a baby. You were fast asleep. You know, to this day, I still don't remember what happened in there. One minute I'm trying to find a light switch and all of a sudden I'm waking up outside again with that guy standing over me. Did we ever find out who he was? You ask. Adam stops his wheelchair and looks up at you. No, we never did. I never told you or Salem this, but a couple of weeks later I slipped and blabbed about the whole thing to my parents. They didn't know who the groundskeeper was either. They asked around town and no one knew. It was just a guy who told us he was a groundskeeper. Are you guys taking a break up there? Lacey asks. You look back and she's hopping on one foot while pulling up her sock. When she plants her sneaker back down, she furiously waves away insects and groans. She tiptoes uncomfortably through the tall grass. This is probably gonna, every single time we've tried to be like nice to Adam, apparently we've insulted him. So yeah, pushing so hard seems like the most condescending option. We're not gonna go with that. But let's ask him, because he was complaining about his back. So let's see. So how's your back been feeling? I know it was hurting a lot when I saw you a few days ago. Adam gives his wheelchair a few hard pushes up a short rise and shoots forward. At the top, he lets the wheelchair coast and momentum and gravity carry him forward while he rubs his hands together. Well, thanks for asking. It's not been too bad. I'm stretching a lot more in the mornings and taking a few pain relievers here and there. Don't worry, it's not like high school when I was popping pills all the time. Oh, sorry. I had no idea you were struggling with addiction back then. Well, not many people knew, especially not our parents. Coach was handing out Oxy like M&Ms, anything to keep us playing. I hated them, so I stopped taking them during playoffs when we went to championships that one year. Your coach? Adam shrugs. We didn't have a lot of players, so injuries could ruin our chances. Pop a pill and get right back in the game. Anyways, it's all in the past. Now I just take ibuprofen, do my stretches, and I try to eat right. It's not easy with my mom's cooking. Relationship with Adam? +5. Alright, I'm going to ask how things are at work, and then that should be the last thing. Because I have a feeling that some of these are going to, bite us. This might be one of the things that bite us. How are things at work? Which Morgan would ask, especially after the unpleasant incident that we had over there. Yeah, how's work after we insulted your big client? Adam takes his hands off the wheels and shrugs his shoulders. It's fine. A little tougher than it needs to be with mom and dad barely talking to each other. My brother just got a huge new account, doing payroll for a law firm in Aurora, so I'm gonna need to take over a lot of his work. I guess it's good to have job security. and maybe you'll be able to ask for a raise. He lets out a short, mocking laugh. That's not how that works. More work doesn't mean more money for me, since all the profits go to my dad and trickle down to the rest of us. He's really tight with money. Sounds like you and your dad aren't seeing eye to eye these days. Yeah, been a while since we did. Adam says, his jaw clenches and he stares into the distance. Sorry, I didn't mean to pry. No, I don't mind. It's probably good that I talk about it. I'm sure you hear the rumors about my dad chasing other women around for years. Between the money he spends on them and the sexual harassment suits he's had to settle, it's a serious financial burden on the family. Not to mention the emotional toll. He and Mom just go on like nothing's happening. My brother tried bringing it up once, and it seemed to make things worse for a while. Dad went to go live at a hotel in Aurora for a few days. That's why I wish I could live independently. I'm saving up to buy my own place, but a wheelchair-accessible home in Jericho Heights is basically unheard of. Even if I do move, I worry about abandoning Mom. No-win situation. Can you tell I've thought a lot about this? Well, it's good to hear you talk about it. If you ever need to vent or go for a night and blow off some steam, there for you. Adam nods. He goes quiet, but in his pensive stare, you can see some of his anxiety is lifted. Adam's stress -1. Good. So we've actually counteracted the stress that both Adam and Salem went through earlier. So they're all back at kind of even ground now. So we're not going to say anything else. Let's go ahead and look at the stats real quick. Info and relationships. We're simply an acquaintance of Marcus. But it looks like we can't actually see their stress levels. Cool. No worries, though. Well, it's good talking to you, Adam. I'm going to go check in with the others, okay? It's good talking to you, too. Relationship with Adam +4. A short hill rises about 30 yards ahead on the right. Dead branches and thick patches of crabgrass make the terrain an obstacle for all. Adam notices it with a look of exasperation, and he stops pushing his wheelchair. I'm not sure I can make it up there. I mean, I can do it, but it would take a long time and a lot of energy. When we reach it, maybe someone can head up there and just take a quick look so we can say we covered the area? As your group continues through the park, you move on to a new topic and decide, let's see here. Let me look at the relationships again. We are a friend with Lacey, friend with Lamb, acquaintance with Jace. We need to get more acquainted with Marcus, I feel. You walk over to Marcus, who's waving a flashlight beam across the field on his left. His backpack hangs over one shoulder, and you see a metal flask bulging in the back pocket of his jean shorts. He swings the flashlight beam through the woods on the right, his watchful eye tracking it with a sense of responsibility. This is Sheriff Marcus, or maybe even Detective Marcus. You walk alongside him, and he comes out of his investigative trance. Nice night. I'm really hoping we find something to help us locate Tyler. I know I'm being overly helpful. We know all the statistics. 24 hours and they're gone, blah blah blah. I don't know. I'm hoping that's wrong this time. You nod your head. It's what we're all hoping. He smiles softly. So anyway, how are you feeling about all this? He takes his flask out of his pocket and takes a sip. See, the thing is, we don't know a whole lot about Marcus, so... Yeah, I think the optimistic option is the best one to go. Good call, Kath. Well, maybe Tyler will beat the odds and he's still out there somewhere waiting to be found. That's what I have to focus on. Idealistic and matter of fact. Marcus quickens his step and claps his hands together once. He fumbles the flashlight in his hand. That's how we have to be right now. Positive and upbeat. We need to see the silver lining and all that shit. I agree. Let's move on to other topics. Influence. We don't have a whole lot of influence with Marcus. I don't think, or in general, do we? I've got 1 dot in influence. Charisma and persuasion. Oh man, that dot in persuasion was such a good call. I see you've been drinking. Is everything okay? Marcus looks at you with an odd expression, like you just told him that aliens have invaded the Earth. Everything's fine. It's only a little whiskey. It may look like I'm drinking a lot, but you probably drink more alcohol when you're using mouthwash. Seriously, it's nothing to worry about. Okay, I just wanted to check. We've been hanging out for very long, but I noticed at the dinner party you were drinking cranberry juice the whole time. Look, I understand why you're confused. A few years ago, I drank more than I should have and did some stupid things. Stopped drinking after that period of my life. I'm fine now. Things are so stressful right now, and a sip here and there keeps me calm. Trust me, it's no big deal. I appreciate the concern, though. Relationship with Marcus +5. The two of you walk on at the same pace, though Marcus veers a few feet sideways away from you. His jaw clenches until he lifts the flask to his lips. A few moments later, he relaxes and moves closer to you again. He smiles at you like he's already forgotten the last conversation. I don't think we need to be bringing up his... With 1 dot of influence, I don't think this is a good call. Small talk is safer, yeah. How's your job at the Army-Navy store? Oh, +6. Marcus perks up at your question. It's pretty good. I like the couple I work for, Sally and Marty. I forget what they used to do, something with horses maybe? Or maybe that was other people. Anyway, they sold everything and opened the store after 9/11. That's tons of camping gear, military gear, stuff for law enforcement, outerwear. You know, I'm a natural at selling it because I know all the details. A lot of selling is just figuring out what motivates somebody to come into the store. That's good to know. Maybe that'll help me in my own store. Marcus slaps your arm with the back of his hand. Yeah, of course. But it's not like 3 days makes you an expert salesman. Let me tell you, as soon as someone comes in, I look them in the eyes and I'm like, this lady likes to go hiking and post stories about it on Instagram. I bet she'd like some stylish boots to show off to her friends. Or I'll say to myself, this guy is a patriot. I'm going to sell him a flag he can hang from his porch and a whole box of fireworks for the 4th of July. Works 90% of the time. You must make a killing in commissions. His expression sours, and he takes a swallow from his flask. Nah, Sally and Marty can't afford to pay much. Their youngest son had cancer, which racked up a lot of medical bills. Town even did a fundraiser for them and raised just enough to save their home. Lucas still passed away, but poor Sally and Marty still have the bills. They pay me what they can, and sometimes they let me take camping gear or a few shirts or something. They do have some pretty useful things, like tent stakes and surveillance gear. You should come by and check it out, because these are things we can use when dealing with, you-know-who. So why do you do it? Gives me something to do. It's not like I really need the money. He shrugs. Alright, let's not push our luck. It was good talking with you, Marcus. Thanks for chatting. I'm gonna go check on the rest of the group here. Marcus raises his flask to you. Sounds good, my friend. Glad we had a few minutes to shoot the shit. His words slur a little at the end, and he belches. You know you'll need to keep an eye on him. As you arrive at the short hill, Adam turns to face the group. So I'm not going up there anytime soon. So who wants to go? Marcus limps forward a few feet. I've had this stupid callus on my foot and now it's acting up. I don't want to make that an excuse though. If no one feels up to it, I'll go. Lacey takes a few steps forward, tightening the bun on her head. I'm feeling good. I'll go unless someone else feels up for it. Salem rubs her arms like she's cold, but it must be 70 degrees outside. I guess I can go, but... Seeing her nervousness and Lacey's discomfort, you say, well, how about I go? I know the park pretty well and I could check things out. You notice a collective sigh of relief among your friends. You climb the hill and step onto a long patch of tall grass. I have a feeling our survival is going to come in very handy here. The path grows fainter and twists in the woods, where it fades to nothing. Dark flowers like rust-colored dandelions edge out the tree line, and when you cross it, you feel like you're entering another world. It's darker and even a little colder, and there's an unnerving stillness to the forest. An insect buzzes past your shoulder, and you trip on a bent branch. Taking a few stumbling steps forward, you regain your balance and march in a straight line, shining your flashlight ahead. You're not sure what you're even looking for at night in the middle of a park outside a small town in Illinois. What's the sheriff's office expecting you to find? Is this only for the mayor's benefit? Another line item on his re-election poster? As your mind wanders over the possibilities of adding anything to this investigation, you lose track of the path you've taken. The trees are different here. No longer holding broad and rounded leaves with slender branches. These are black oak with reddish-brown branches and patches of gray, their leaves bristly with sharp hairs. They stand in rows separated and alone like a field of scarecrows. Even the soil has changed to coarse and dry. Walking the trail between the trees, you hear the crumple and snap of twigs beneath your feet and hear the same sound coming a few yards to your right. A branch breaks somewhere to the southwest, and up ahead a bush sways in the wind. An image flashes before your eyes of several figures advancing on you from out of the woods. One of them is familiar to you. Then you feel a tickle of fear in the back of your mind. The image puts you on edge, adrenaline racing through your veins. Draw a circle of protection around me on the ground. Okay. We're gonna do that. What's our resolve? 3. Occult 4. It's a kind of a cool... I didn't think it was going to be good, but a combination of survival and occult is actually pretty nifty. Okay. As the movement through the forest draws closer, you crouch and press your index finger into the ground until it makes an impression. You spin in a wide circle until the start of the line meets the end. You mark north, south, east, and west with symbols of warding. As you place the fourth, the circle shimmers with a brief light. You stand and feel a warmth of calm wash over you. Willpower +2, thank you. Faster-paced footsteps come from behind. Then you spin to see a familiar face. It's Jace, who's renting the room in your house. He stops and scrambles away from the circle you drew on the ground. Other figures move around you, one from every side. A young woman in a short-brimmed cowboy hat, dark blue jumpsuit, and lighter blue bikini top. Clean-cut young person in a buttoned-up shirt and khakis with a fanny pack, rubbing their hands nervously. She's created her own Lost Boys. Turning, you see another figure, and it's like she's moving in slow motion. She slinks from behind a dead black oak and waves at you with a sheepish grin. It's Monroe Duncan. Hey, what's up? She says and flashes 2 fingers in the peace symbol. Ooh. Well, she's talked. Hello, Monroe. The whole town thinks you're missing, but I guess you're not too worried about that. Impulsive plus 10. She rolls her eyes and paces in front of you. Don't you think I know that? My mom is probably going out of her mind. Not that she cared much when I was there. But still, I can't exactly walk into town now and let everyone know that I've been in the park the whole time. Not the whole time. You met all of us in Chicago, so it couldn't be the whole time. Oh, wait, hold on. Not the whole time. You met all of us in Chicago, so it couldn't be the whole time. The young man says with a nervous laugh. He looks to the ground and shakes his head, amused by Monroe's misinformation. Again, she rolls her eyes. I know, you're right. She turns to you and says, Anyway, I'm not here to talk about my itinerary over the past 3 years. We're here to ask for your help. Can we move this conversation along? Some of us have places to be, the woman in the hat says. Monroe clicks her teeth and gives her the evil eye. Yes, let's start with introductions. You already know me, and Jace told me he knows you. Yeah, Jace is actually renting a room in my house, you say. Monroe nods and continues. My impatient friend over there is Kira, and that's Eric over there who looks like they're ready to go sing in a choir. Eric laughs and looks up, scratching the underside of their chin. It's funny you should say that because I did sing in a summer camp choir where I was a soprano. However, at the point where they were handing out solos, I decided to quit and join the audiovisual club instead. Kira stomps in front of them and sits on a tree stump. No one cares about your geek adventures. I'm not sure how to say this, but we're vampires. And we're not the only ones in town, Monroe says. Ooh. Should we go with the indie folk band? Should we go ahead and test our luck? Do it. Well, during times of stress, he has taken the sarcastic approach, hasn't he? Well, I'm glad you're all vampires because I was worried I was being jumped by an indie folk band. Sarcastic plus 8. Something else moves in the woods, and a new figure comes into the clearing. You feel a jolt of tension as you recognize him as the attacker from the alley a few nights ago. Despite the fact that he's clearly animate? Alive seems like very much the wrong word. His skin is still unnaturally molted and pale. Rotten flesh slows off of him. That said, he looks somewhat cleaned up from the other night, with his black hair combed out of his face. He's also wearing a fresh set of jeans and a hoodie. Whoa, what is he doing here? You shout. I saw him in an alley near my house the other night. He chased me all the way home. Seeing you in the clearing, he takes an aggressive step in your direction. You got away from me the other night, but you won't get away now. In a flash, Monroe moves in front of him, planting her hands on his chest. Damn it, Perry, he's off limits. We talked about this. So fucking tired of feeding on possums and squirrels and shit, he says. He shoves her off and snarls at you, baring his fangs. He paces at the edge of the tree line, never taking his eyes off you. An image pops into your head of the small silver button you found only a few minutes ago. We're not here to hurt you, and that goes for all of us, Monroe says and casts a hard look at Perry. She turns back to you and says, We may be vampires, but we're not like Amanda. It's hard to explain, but the curse isn't as strong for us. Our blood is weaker than other vampires. Oh, they're thin bloods. Okay. What's our wits and insight? No. We need 5. We only have 4. Crap. Weaker blood? What are you talking about? I need to find out more about these vampires. Inquisitive +5, Path of Knowledge +15. Eric perks up. Some would not even call us vampires, per se. We've been called thin bloods. That's what the older vampires call us, among other things, Monroe says. You're one of the kind, or as I prefer to call you, bloodbags, Harry says with a cocky chuckle. Kind, you ask? A derogatory term for mortals. It's an old term for cows. That's awful, Perry. We're trying to make friends here, Eric says. Look, we're not here to give a tutorial. Can we just get on with this? Kira says. You glance up at a tree nearby and spot a crow prancing on a tree limb like it's watching your group from high up. A hard wind blows through the clearing, tossing dirt across your path. Your phone buzzes, and you look down at the screen, surprised you even received it in this deep in the woods. A text from Adam asks, "How's it going?" You click off the screen. Monroe paces between two trees as she speaks. We need your help with Amanda. She's got Jericho Heights on lockdown, and we want to change that. She's had this town in her clutches for far too long, and it's time for her reign to end. The Queen must die. We can't get close to her, but you can. Not only can you go out during the daytime, but you can talk to her and watch her and track her movements. Wait, I met Jace during the day. If he can go out in the sunlight, then why do you need me? Just because I can go out in the daytime doesn't mean I like it, Jace says. Besides, Chastain has spies all around the city. If she finds out about me, I'm dead. You can move around Jericho without raising any suspicion. He's right. You can move around town easier than any of us, day or night. It's a very good thing we didn't screw Jace over on rent. Information gathering is the first step in our plan. We need to know everything about her schedule, and her ghoul, Gabriel, too. Can you do that for us? Ghoul? You ask? He drinks her blood in exchange for strength and vitality. It's like a glorified servant, Monroe says. So, will you help us? Ooh, dear. Why do you need me to track her movements during the day? Can't you all go out during the day anyway? Inquisitive +4. Jace blinks hard and stammers before saying, That's actually a really good question. Monroe? She shoots Jace a hard stare and then turns to you. A few reasons. First, if anyone in town saw me, they would literally shit a brick. Everyone knows who I am, and they all think I'm kidnapped or dead. They would not literally poop a brick, you mean figuratively, Eric says, wringing their hands. It's a metaphor, just forget it, Monroe says with a huff. She turns to you and says, Jace is already scouting things out, but it's possible they know who he is. Perry's also had a run-in with her, and she's threatened to kill him if they cross paths again. If Amanda or Gabriel or one of her spies sees any of us walking around Jericho Heights, we would be followed. Once they knew where we were hiding out, we wouldn't be safe from the wrath of Queen Bitch. I just figured you could go anywhere in the Heights without drawing suspicion. Your vision fogs over as an image flashes of Perry lunging for your throat. You change your stance to prepare for any attack. This is stupid. They're nothing but food to us, and all of you want to do is talk and ask for help. From a mortal. Perry rushes at you, mouth open and fangs bared. As his hands reach for your throat, you tumble backwards and hit the ground. In midair, Perry's direction suddenly changes, and he ricochets to your left like his body hit an invisible barrier. He lands with a grunt and rolls a few paces away. You notice a translucent blue haze rising from your circle of protection. It shimmers and dims, and the blue haze fades to nothing. Jace and Monroe help him to his feet, yet each holds an arm to restrain him from further aggression. "What the hell was that?" Perry shouts. Relationship with the young vampires +10. Interesting. "Looks like our new friend was ready to fight a vampire," Eric says with excitement. Kira stands and puts her phone away. "Oh, this shit got way more interesting." Monroe grips the back of Perry's hair and gives it a hard yank, twisting his neck. Now he's snarling at her. "Cut this shit out right now, or I'll swear I'll kill you myself. After that crap you pulled with Ty..." Jace clears his throat, interrupting her. "Monroe!" Kira's eyes open wide and her mouth hangs, like she's waiting for a fight in the schoolyard. "Do it, Monroe. Wait, do we get to drink his blood?" "No one is drinking anyone else's blood," Monroe says. "Wait, what do you mean, Ty?" you ask. "It's nothing. Monroe is a bit confused," Jace says. He yanks on Perry's arm. "Dude, relax. You really want to die here tonight?" As they argue, you can't help but wonder about Monroe's slip-up. They mean Tyler Sanders? The silver button you found. Where did you see it before? The picture forms in your mind of Tyler from the candlelight vigil. They used a photo of him from the night he disappeared. He wore a jacket with silver buttons, just like the one you found beside the dead animal. You did it. You're the reason Tyler Sanders is missing. Killed him, you say, pointing your finger at the vampire. "Fuck off," he yells at you. He yanks his arms to free them, but Marone and Jace hold him fast. "I would think you'd have the balls to admit what you did, since you're such a killer." Harry stops resisting Monroe and Jace. "I didn't mean to kill him. I saw him in the woods with his stupid leather jacket and reminded me of all those kids in high school who used to pick on me. Just wanted a taste." And he fought back. Monroe and Jace release their hold on his arms and each take a step back. "Are you going to be cool now?" Jace asks, holding his hands up just in case. Monroe spins and slams her head on Perry's chest, flies through the air and plows into the trunk of a tree 10 feet away. He lands with a grunt on the ground as the massive oak sways, leaves fluttering down, covering him. "You stay right there, and if you move, so help me, I'll stake you and leave you out in the sun." Monroe yells at him. Okay, that wasn't a yell, but... He coughs and holds a hand out. In a shallow voice, he says, "Cool. This is quite a predicament you've got us into, Perry. Not only do I abhor the loss of life, but you're forcing this to be handled by us," Eric says, rubbing their hands even more furiously. Kira swipes on her phone, half paying attention. She purses her lips, takes a selfie, and says, "Y'all heard of the Masquerade, right? He's gonna get us in a lot of trouble. I told him to clean it up, but now half the town is looking for that jerk." Monroe huffs out a deep sigh. "Enough already. Look, Morgan, we need you to keep this quiet. This whole thing with Tyler is bigger than Jericho Heights for vampires like us. Please don't say a word." "Well, why don't we just kill him then?" Kira says and turns to Perry. "Sorry, not sorry. You did it to yourself. But we're here for one thing, one goal. Can we just keep our focus on that for now? When all this is over, Perry will have to deal with the consequences," Monroe says. Discovering the identity of Tyler's murderer puts you in a terrible situation. On one hand, you've been asked by a group of young vampires to keep this information to yourself. If you keep quiet about it with the rest of the town, you're sure the young vampires will appreciate it. Of course, if you do tell anyone and piss these vampires off, there's no telling what they'll do to you. Not telling anyone in town may provide you with valuable information you may be able to use at a convenient time. On the other hand, the whole town is searching for Tyler Sanders and his parents are completely distraught. You saw their heartbreak back on the stage. They deserve the right to learn what happened to Tyler. Seeing his body may bring them some closure. To add to that, however, being the person to find Tyler's body would be a double-edged sword. Everyone would be talking about you, for good or ill. Woo! Oh my god. Okay, so we got some options here, guys. We can't have a group of young vampires against us. Won't tell anyone about Tyler Sanders. Show me where the body is right now. Oh, the one of Tyler's parents deserve closure. Is that the one you're talking about, Kath? I'm kind of going back and I'm kind of looking at either that one, that's kind of the comfortable middle between the two, or just taking the really kind of devious approach and having them kill Perry. Because Perry seems like a loose cannon. He will probably kill again if we give him the opportunity. And it doesn't seem like the rest of them would be particularly distraught if he died. So but that does seem to be the way to go about it. Do you have stats for that? A manipulation and intimidation? Oh, wait. Oh, it's intimidation. I'm sorry. I thought it was... I do not. Never mind. So, yeah, we have to go with one of these other options. Good call, Kath. I was just looking at the manipulation and assumed, oh, I've got it. Tyler's parents deserve closure. You need to let someone discover that body. You all have 24 hours, or I go to the police. Kind-hearted, relationship with young vampires, -4. Monroe hangs her head. The thing about it is, we were hearing this during the talk with our friends, with Adam and Salem. We were the moral compass of the group growing up, right? I'd like to think that that has not changed. So we'll see. Monroe hangs her head and rubs the back of her neck. That's not going to make it easy on us. Easy? Do you think it's easy for Tyler's parents to be wondering about their son? Jace looks over at Monroe, eyebrows raised and the ends of his lips curled. Makes sense. Monroe lowers her head. 24 hours. Thank you for giving us that. She turns to Perry, who's only now standing up. Hey, asshole. Right after this, you're going to take a walk with me. So, let's get back to that favor, you say. Monroe flips her silver hair. We need your help with Amanda. We need you to follow her and get her to know her patterns. When she leaves the house, where she's going, times, any move she makes. Anything you can tell us will give us an advantage. And why do you need me to do this? What's your endgame? Queenie's gotta go bye-bye, Kira says. Her phone lets out a jingle and she squeals with delight. Oh, I just hit 300,000 followers. So you're gonna kill Chastain? Monroe shrugs, twisting her mouth to the side like she's frustrated. I don't know if we can. But we're going to make her life miserable in this town. Will you help us? I don't have the wits and insight. I don't know if I have that. Wait. I need to put that point in insight. Crap. There's some sort of reasoning of them choosing me. But this is true. I actually need this. I still don't understand what's so bad about Chastain. You've given me no information on why she's the evil of the town. It's a legit question, I would think. Inquisitive. Monroe squeezes her eyes shut in frustration and then opens them to stare at you again. She has corrupted this town and the people who pretend to run it. The mayor, the sheriff, even the town council don't make a move unless she approves of it. All of her decisions revolve around her gaining power. And then there's the blood. She feeds off of everyone without their consent and manipulates their minds to make them forget it ever happened. Unless you're one of the poor souls who she charms, and then you believe you want her to give her blood. That's what's so bad about Amanda. You have the illusion of free will in this town, but it's slowly being stripped away from everyone. Yeah, there's an option to want to become a vampire, yeah. I'll help you gather the information on Chastain you need. I want to understand everything about Chastain and the Young Vampires, which sounds like a band. You have allied yourself with Monroe Duncan and the Young Vampires. Path of Knowledge +9, Truthful +8, Relationship with the Young Vampires +9, Relationship with Monroe +9. Monroe pounces in place, showing a renewed energy, and grows a smile. I was hoping you'd say that. She tosses you a flip phone. Use this to get in touch with us. I put each of us on speed dial. Text us with information or to ask questions. It's a basic phone and it's paid up for the month. Throw it away when it stops working or if you get in trouble. What do you mean by trouble? You ask, staring at the phone. In the very unlikely event that J-Field or Chastain get in your face, press *75 and the phone will destroy its data. Oh no, excuse me, that's Jace who says that. My bad. In the very unlikely event that J-Field or Chastain get in your face, press *75 and the phone will destroy its data, Jace says. Eric takes a step forward and fidgets with the zipper of their fanny pack. It's actually quite likely. J-Field is paranoid and always reaching out for Chastain, and she has keen senses, most likely the byproduct of her Toreador heritage. Monroe interrupts them. No need to get into all of that. Just be careful, Morgan. You're going to do great. Remember, we need to know her movements, the people she feeds on, and anything else we can use to predict where she'll be on any given night. So, we all good then? We got our answer. Can we go now? Kira asks. Monroe claps her hands once. That's all I've got. Stay safe out there, Morgan. Keep in touch. The young vampires move together into the woods with Monroe leading last, holding up the peace symbol. You watch for a few moments as their forms lose shape in the haze and darkness. When they're gone from sight, you feel an unusual sensation, one of wonder and uneasiness. Your world just got a whole lot bigger. Just when you were coming to grips with the thought of a vampire being in Vampire Heights, or Jericho Heights, which is first one still accurate, you've learned of at least 5 more in the same small town. But what about the rest of the world? How many vampires are there? And if vampires exist, what about other supernatural creatures? It's all a bit too much. And despite your sense of fascination, a single thread of fear unravels the more you think about it. Okay. Lost in thought, you turn and walk the path through the woods, guided by moonlight. Owls and other night birds make their calls, but stay hidden in the dark. The constant rustle of trees and bushes makes you feel like you're being followed, and you glance over your shoulder more than once. The farther you walk, the faster your pace. It's only when you hear your friends that you begin to slow down. "Where the hell have you been?" Salem says. She runs into you with a hug, almost knocking you over. Adam rolls over to you. "Everything okay?" His voice shows genuine concern. You could tell them the truth of your encounter with the young vampires. There's no telling how they'll react, but you can guess a mix of shock, worry, and outright fear. Holding back the information will save them from the turmoil and stress, but you won't be able to rely on your allies for advice and support. If you tell them about the meeting, do you tell them about the plot against Chastain? Do you tell them about Jace? You have a vampire living in your house. Okay, what's our charisma and leadership? Okay, that's not happening. Alright, we gotta tell them. We have got to tell them. I just saw Monroe Duncan, and she's a vampire. I don't want to freak them out, but they need to at least know about Monroe. Truthful +7. You saw Monroe? Just now in the woods? Salem asks, her voice raised and trembling. Adam rolls closer to you. And you're sure she's a vampire? After I went up that hill, I came to another path in the woods and it led to a clearing. Monroe came out and introduced herself. She told me she's a vampire. Marcus starts up the hill, stops midway, and turns back. Do you think she's still out there? She's gone by now. We talked for a while and then she left. Don't waste your time going to go look for her. Lacey whips out a cigarette, lights it, and blows a long stream of smoke into the air. What does she want? I doubt she asked for directions. She had to have some motivation for telling you that. Okay. So we don't want to tell her maybe, I don't know about this one, but I think we give them like a half-truth, which I know is the worst kind of lie, thank you, Delenn, but still. Manipulation plus subterfuge, charisma, and persuasion. Manipulation and subterfuge. Okay, it's the same either way. Well, that's kind of true. That's a half-truth right here. Well, since there was talk of her being alive, she just wanted to show me it's true. I need to protect them from the truth. It'll just worry them. Kind-hearted +2. All of them stare at you and move in closer, like they're listening to a campfire ghost story. You continue. With all the news lately about Monroe and her being spotted in the park, I think she wanted to share the truth with someone. I got the sense she's lonely and trying to adapt to what she's become. She wants to have a connection to her old life, to the community of Jericho Heights. She knew my grandfather really well, which is why she felt comfortable with me. It's possible she had other motivations, but I don't know anything about that. What I can say is that I got the impression she was being honest with me. I guess that's good to hear, right? Salem asks. You see some of the color returning to her face, and she walks over and leans on the back of Adam's chair. Salem stress -1. Adam smiles at her, then looks to you. Well, it sounds like she's no threat to us then. With Tyler Sanders missing and all these people out here searching for him, it's likely she doesn't want anyone to think they had any hand in it. Adam stress -1. Look, I believe you, Morgan, but I can't accept that a vampire just wants to be friends, Marcus says. Lacey takes a drag off of her cigarette and blows the smoke off to the side. I'm not sure what to believe, but it all makes me nervous. I was worried about Chastain, but now I have to worry about another one of these leeches. The more we look into this, the worse it gets. I'm tired of looking for monsters under my bed. Lacey's stress +1. The moonlight fades, and darkness creeps in from the corners of the clearing as a dark cloud passes in front of the moon. As it crawls along... Oh, the music ended. Hold on, let me fix the music. Yes. Good lord. There we go. A dark cloud passes in front of the moon. As it crawls along, Long Valley Park comes alive with the sounds of nighttime animals, birds, and insects, all emboldened by the safety of the darkness. Well, we should go get other people involved, Adam says. We need help. We can't do this alone. Who do you propose? Lacey asks, though her tone sounds almost accusatory. What about Zane Schaefer? He comes into the Army-Navy store once in a while. Marcus stands at the edge of the forest with his hands on his hips, peering into the darkness. Adam nods. It's not a bad idea. We just had some proof we could go to the mayor and sheriff for help. Based on what Monroe told me, Chastain has influence over the both of them. Can't go to them without Chastain finding out, you say. I'm not surprised to hear that. I bet she controls town council too, Lacey says. Look, for now, let's just keep all of this to ourselves. We remain open to the possibility of inviting others in, you say. As the five of you turn to head back to the meeting area, you pause and consider what you know about Tyler Sanders. Oh. You think so? Be forthright? That's going to raise their stress level. I was either thinking about saying nothing or just going with that. Yeah, you're right. The moral compass. The body of Tyler Sanders will be found tomorrow. Truthful +6. Your companions look at you in shock as your words sink in. You're trying to assuage their fears. You failed. What do you know? Lacey asks, dropping her cigarette. Turns out Monroe knows where Tyler's body is located. More looks of shock. Salem grips the side of her head, and Marcus marches closer to you. Did she kill Tyler? He grits his teeth and clenches his jaw. You can tell them the truth that another vampire killed Tyler, or you can use this as an opportunity to persuade them in a number of different ways. Oh god, I need to protect the young vampires as I hope to join them one day? Good lord. A different vampire killed him, and Monroe found out about it. She had no role in his death. Oh, get that stress going. Let it flow. Anxiety for days. Truthful +5. Your words hit your companions like a tidal wave. Number of emotions wash over them. So one of them actually did it, Adam says, stroking his chin. Salem covers her face with her hands, but you can hear her muffle words over and over. No. How do you know only one killed Tyler? And who was it? Lacey asks. She has the expression of a junkyard dog growling at you from the other side of the chain-link fence. It was another vampire named Perry, the same one who attacked me. When Monroe found out about it, she threatened him, told him to Never do anything like it again, or else, you say. Marcus smacks his forehead. Of course he's gonna do it again. He's a vampire. This is what they do, and I don't believe for a second she had nothing to do with this. She has to die just like Perry. The five of you, let's see, where are we at? Long chapter. I like it. Makes up for the last one. The five of you make your way through Long Valley Park and back to the registration area. As you walk through a narrow part of the path, Salem walks up next to you. She says nothing, but once in a while looks over and gives you a weak smile. Heading down a different path than the way you came, you arrive at the registration area far sooner than you expected. Much of the crowd is gathered back in front of the stage, standing around with bottles of water and snacks, and some have started singing by the memorial. Somewhere over the rainbow. The candles flicker brighter now that night has taken over. The mayor stands on the podium with Tyler's family and the sheriff, and all look worn and ready to head home. Deputy Sheriff Maya stands just below the stage and talks to members of the community. You and your companions join with the others, and you soon learn no one has turned up any clues about Tyler Sanders. You overhear a variety of theories about his disappearance, but as the night wears on, discussions turn to things around town, such as the upcoming summer festival. With each passing minute, people in attendance drift away, till your brigade remains among the last. You return to the parking lot to find your cars. What a night, Marcus says. He picks up a stone on the ground and tosses it into a field on his left. It was amazing to see so many people turn out for Tyler. This town is a pretty special place, Salem says. Most of the crowd has migrated to their cars or have already departed. When you reach the row where the Red Beast is parked, your friends form a circle around you, each of them deep in thought and clearly exhausted from recent events. So, we're all going to Gallagher's Tavern on Thursday night, right? Adam asks. Sorry if that seems frivolous to ask at this moment, but honestly, I just needed to lighten the mood some. At the sound of Gallagher's Tavern, you look over at Salem, who's smiling back. Lacey's face seems to brighten, and she tosses away her cigarette. I definitely want to end this week with a few cocktails. I'm ready to go right now, Marcus says. I'm definitely looking forward to it, you say. You haven't had a chance to sit back and relax as a group. It'll be great to unwind and listen to some music. Here they have some awesome hot wings. Well, I'll be there. And thank you, Adam, for lightening the mood. I think we all needed that, Salem says. As you walk up to the Red Beast, Salem steps over and leans against the back door. Hey, do you feel like hanging out for a bit? I really don't want to go home, and I'd rather not be alone tonight. Sure. Let's hang out, I say, looking forward to spending more time with her. Who needs sleep? Matter of fact, +7. She breathes a sigh of relief and smiles at you. Turning towards Adam, she yells to him, I'm okay. I'm getting a ride with Morgan. I'll talk to you later. You climb into the driver's seat and Salem sits on the passenger side. As you back out of the parking spot, your friends beep their horns at you as a goodbye. You pull your car out of the parking lot. At the start of the short ride, a sudden downpour rolls in. I love the smell of rain, Salem says, cracking open the window and taking a deep breath in through her nose. She pulls something out of her pocket, a piece of folded tinfoil. She unwraps it on her lap, showing 3 small squares of dark brownies. Pops one in her mouth. When she sees you looking, she holds up the other 2. You want one? I made them the other day. They're not too strong, but they really help me go to sleep. Thanks, but probably not a good idea while I'm driving. She nods, folds the tinfoil, and slips it back into her pocket. It takes a while for it to kick in, but you make a good point. You stare at her, and for the first time today you see peace on her face, and you keep glancing over and smiling at her along the Red Tree Road. As you pull to the curb outside your store, you spot Lamb locking up the front door. Catching him as he walks away, he says, I will give you a full report on the store and today's business, but I've been here all day, and I'm tired. It's okay. We'll talk tomorrow, you say to him. As he continues away from the shop, he turns and raises a single finger. I just remembered. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning. I'll be at work by 11 o'clock. We can debrief then. Salem walks next to you, and the two of you pass the store and head inside your home. As you swing the door open, Hex runs over and stares up at you and Salem. Yeah, it'll be nice once we run into Jace. That'll be so just wonderful reunion. Hi, Hex, Salem says and crouches. You may not know this. My mom and I took care of her after your grandfather passed, before you got here. We even tried to take her home with us, but she kept finding her way outside and back here. Home. So I would go in at least once a day and put food out for her and clean her litter box. Hex brushes her body against Salem's leg and purrs. Well, that was so nice of you. Thanks for doing that. Salem nods and stands. I should have told you earlier. Your grandfather gave us a key a long time ago, just in case he ever locked himself out, which he never did. I can give it back to you if you want. This place is all yours now. No, please keep it. If you'd like, you can give me a key to your house. Oh, okay, great. I actually think your grandfather has our key around here someplace. Maybe in a mason jar in the kitchen, if I remember correctly. She looks around the room and notices the boxes and suitcases you've left on the first floor. You haven't unpacked yet. I'm gonna get to it soon, you say. Well, let me know when you're ready and I'd be happy to help. I'm a master at organizing. She sits on the couch, brings up one leg, and turns to face you. She's breathing fast and glances over at you only to look away again. I'm going to ask you something, and you can't get weird about it. Okay. When we were growing up, why didn't you tell me how you felt about me? Ooh. Oh man, this is just kind of terms of the narrative, isn't it? You're out of my league. You're always so popular and no one ever looked at me twice. Domineering plus 12. She looks away and her brow furrows in deep thought. When she looks back at you, she says, the funny thing is, I really liked you. I just thought you weren't into me. We hung out for so long and you never told me how you felt, so I just thought you had no feelings at all. Look, the past is the past, and we can both look forward to the future, now that we know how each other feels. She pats the cushion next to her, and you sit. She slides closer and puts her arms around you. She bites the side of her lip and stares at you like she expects you to say something. Can I kiss you? She nods to you and leans in. Your lips meet. Time seems to stand still as you remember a very long time ago when you first saw the girl across the street, and the way she smiled and waved like she knew she was lighting up your life. Your heart pounds as she grips you tighter. Her hand crawls along the back of your neck, making your skin tingle. When she pulls away for a moment, she gasps and takes a deep breath. Can't believe we haven't been doing this all along. So worried about everything going on in town, and I just want to forget all of it. Your lips meet again. She climbs onto your lap, one leg going over to straddle you. Her hands take yours and interlock your fingers. It's like you've done this before or imagined it happening. The feel of her body against yours, the taste of her lips, the smell of her skin, the way her hair falls back against your cheek. She leans back, still sitting on your lap, and stares at you, hesitating. You've stared into those brown eyes enough in your life to know she's worried. I think we should stop now before this goes any further. It's not that I don't want to, but after all that's happened today, and you've only been home a few days. She struggles to search for the right words. That second option is a surefire way to get tossed out of the window of your own home. Look, it's completely fine if we wait. Just happy to be with you, I say, honestly. Truthful +4. Her cheeks turn redder, and her eyes well up. She leans in to kiss you again, and you feel the full force of her passion, sudden and overwhelming. When she sits back and stares at you, a single tear rolls down her cheek, and you brush her face to wipe it away. Why are you crying? You ask. She shrugs and looks away. It's been a while since I met someone who I knew I could care about. I met you so long ago, and it took so long to get here. We have so much to worry about. Like, we don't know if we're safe, if our families are safe, friends. And now we want to start something between us. It's not fair. I've been waiting for someone for a long time, and now you're here, but are we even going to have a shot at this when more important things get in the way? You take her hands in yours. Yeah, the timing is not ideal, but I'm glad we have each other to lean on. Can you imagine what it would be like without anyone? We have each other, so the timing isn't bad at all. Maybe we need it now, so we found it. She kisses you again, and you can feel her body relax into yours. Before long, the two of you lie next to each other on the couch, arm in arm, legs intertwined. Her eyes close, and her breathing turns deeper and fuller as she drifts off. You hold her close and listen for a while until you're called away into another world. Relationship with Salem +2, Salem stress -1. Salem is considering the issues that she's dealing with, like making sure her stress levels are down is kind of like my primary concern. I think the others can handle it. But yeah, that is the end of the chapter. Go into chapter 9, Alone in the Crowd. So that definitely made up for that short chapter in the last stream. Chapter 7 was very short, but chapter 8, knowing that we're basically dealing with a coterie of vampires just hanging out in the woods of thin bloods, that is quite interesting indeed. So we will go ahead and end it here, and we will pick it up with chapter 9 in the next stream, guys. I hope y'all are enjoying it. If you haven't followed the Twitch channel, please do so. I try and stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays with random times in between. And if you're watching the replay of this on YouTube, I have a link to the Twitch channel in the description below. Please go ahead and leave a follow if you'd like. And I also have a link to my Extra Life page where I'm raising money for my local children's hospital via the Extra Life charity. So check those out if you feel so inclined. Like, share, subscribe. You guys know the drill there. And we will see you next time. Later days, everyone.